Good morning. It is beautiful today. I am spending time in this beautiful, beautiful place here in Kentucky that just is such a blessing. We are fishing, and it's just, guys, there's never, like, I feel like bird flew over. There is never a time where I can ever do a vlog these days where I say, like, it's so pretty here. Like, what do I say? It's so peaceful and so beautiful here. I've had to do these vlogs in pieces. Just, it's sometimes I think that I am so in awe of where God has brought me that, like, it's literally so hard to start a vlog. I said vlog. It's hard to start a vlog in the awe of just everything that I see, like the beauty here. Like, I feel like I think that I just sit in the awe of God. Like, there's no words to describe it, because 2.5 years ago, when the Lord decided to move me completely away from everything that I had ever known. And I feel like this has just been like God throughout my life. Like, even from childhood, I went from the Imperial Valley. I have to say, the desert has its beauties. It really, really does. I went from that comfort zone and that beautiful childhood home to living with my grandparents. I mean, I never expected, I didn't even know, like, as a kid, it was like, oh, we're going to be moving in with your grandparents. What a life change that was, and what an adjustment. And at first, I would say that adjustment was, like, a little challenging to comprehend, like, what that life change actually meant. What did that mean for me? What did it mean for us as a family? I had no comprehension. I was so young. And at first it felt like, oh, our life is now going to revolve around caregiving. And even then, I didn't comprehend exactly what all that entailed, or what that actually meant in the long run. But that challenge in and of itself, everything that came with caregiving, that ended up being as challenging as that season was. It came with so many things that God was teaching me during that time, and I grew a lot from that life experience. I never would have imagined, though, that everything that I had come to know, everything that I had just adjusted to, everything that I had come to love about San Diego, coming from the Imperial Valley, living in the desert, to San Diego, what an adjustment that was. I feel that in every season, the Lord has been just doing this work in my life, and, like, I feel like I can never actually comprehend in and out of every season, like, what is it that God is going to be doing next in my life. But that's good, because I feel like if we knew everything God would be doing, life would be so boring, and we would never have anything left to look forward to, because we'd always know, like, what God is going to be doing next. So, but I would have to say that
let me see you cast out a couple more times.
When the Lord
if I get
me,
hooked.
I remember when Caleb was born, and we were in the old house, and I was up one really late night, and I was nursing, and I was just sharing my heart with the Lord, and I was like, Lord, I just feel like there's one more. I feel like our home is not complete. Like, I felt that, like, in my heart, like, there is one more. But I was like, Lord, there's a bee, go away. I hate bee. What is that? Okay, whoa. No, it's a beetle. So yes, so I was sharing my heart with the Lord, and I was like, God, do not, like, don't listen to me. I'm just gonna tell you what's on my heart, but Because I felt like if I share this with the Lord, like He's going to move every piece. He's going to move heaven and earth to expand our lives. And I was like, okay, if we're going to expand, I imagine expanding here at this house. And let me tell you, this house had problems like galore. But it was like my dream home. I mean, in my heart and mind, I was like, I don't care if it has all of these problems. Like, literally, you guys, it was like half the house wasn't insulated. We had so many problems with the, like, I think sewer and plumbing, and like we even had to like dig to find the septic tank for that house. Like, there was so much greenery we had to cut back. Garrett had to do so much work. It was like, honestly, it was a money pit, I will tell you. But I was like, but it's this beautiful little cottage home, and it has a big backyard, and the kids love it, and they play back there, and they have their favorite dog. Like, I was like, God, in my heart of hearts, I like want, like, I feel that there is this place where there is one more where we could expand, but I want to expand here. But in my heart of hearts, I knew, like, the second I started sharing my heart with the Lord, He was gonna, like, there was gonna be some movement going on. And I was like, God, don't do anything, just pretend you didn't hear me sharing this part of my heart with you. Let's just leave things as they are. And before I knew it, I had a rude wake-up call from our landlords, and she was knocking on our door and kicking us out unexpectedly, without warning. We had nowhere to go, and it was like, God, where are we going? Like, what are we gonna do? And by the grace of God, my in-laws took us in, and we were all in one room at my in-laws' home. It was a crazy time, and at that time I was like, oh, there's for sure no way we're gonna have another one.
We can have a fishing hook now. I just got nothing to eat.
It was a difficult time. It was a challenging time. Another challenging time. Another place where God had moved me out of everything that I had known and had changed my comfort zone. It was like, here we go again. Only I'm older now, and I'm living with my in-laws instead of my grandparents. God has a way of doing things, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, and sometimes it's like, what are you doing? And why? And why move me away from the most, like, I love San Diego, I love the ocean, I love to just, like, that was my God time right there. Just like, anytime I needed that, just like, let me sit with the Lord. I'm gonna go to the ocean to do that. That is my place with Him. But looking back, like, seeing everything that the Lord, like, everything that He was doing, it's just like, wow, God, like, you were in every single detail. You were in every single moment. Even in the times where, like, the Lord really had to challenge me, like, do you trust me? And there were times I was like, I don't know, you brought me all the way out here. It's the middle of nowhere. And there were times, like, there was, like the very start of the whole move, I got to Rio Vista and I went, no, this is literally, like, the last place on earth I would have ever taken myself. And from the very start, like, even just, like, dating Garrett, I was like, there's no way I'm moving to Rio Vista. I am not doing it. I'm literally not, like, I'm not leaving my ocean to go live in some middle of the, like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, me and San Diego, we're like, that is, like, no, a no-go zone. And so by the grace and love of God, the Lord allowed me a season in San Diego for the start of my marriage. That was beautiful. But then when the Lord did move me, and it's so funny because I was talking to this elderly lady, and she was like, so, because I was telling her, I was like, I don't know, I don't think I could move to, like, the middle of nowhere. And she's like, oh, well, what are you going to do? Like, you're going to just sit up on the river and cry all day? And I was like, yep, that's exactly what that's exactly what I would do if I had to move all the way up there. I would sit up on the river and I'd cry all day, and I did a lot of crying. A lot of crying when I first moved to Rio Vista. I sure did. No lies. And I remember that there was this afternoon, I literally sat on my in-laws' front porch, and there's like beautiful, beautiful fields like everywhere. And my first thought was like, this is ugly. I want to go back home to my ocean, which is beautiful. And I'm just looking out over all these fields, and I'm like, what am I supposed to like do with that? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? I literally felt like God had dumped me in the middle of nowhere. Like, here you go. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? And I'm just sitting on their little front porch little area, and I'm just staring out, looking out over these fields. And this beautiful woman came up and she introduced herself to me, and it was the start of a beautiful friendship. And I just felt like, oh God, there's hope. Like, there's a human being here other than my in-laws and other than my family. At least there's somebody else who like is alive and will speak to me. I literally was like, seriously, when you take a city girl and you go place her in the country and she is not used to that lifestyle, she's gonna have a little bit of a like, seriously, it took me some adjustment to start. By the way, there is no Starbucks like anywhere around the corner. You're gonna have to drive there. By the way, that all of that turned out to be one of the greatest blessings in my life, because there is something in that season that like God had to take me to and bring me through. For me now, where I'm at now, it's like, wow, there's so much where the Lord had to help me find the beauty in being still. He had to help me find the beauty and like, hey, go take a drive and find a Dutch Bros. Like, when I discovered Dutch Bros, I was changed. I think that forever, like I have not even been to a Starbucks, and I don't think I ever will be back to a Starbucks. Sorry for all you Starbucks people fans out there, but I discovered this whole new place of beauty. Like, I fell in love with Rio Vista. Like, I think after being there for a year, I definitely came to this place where it was like, oh, this is so beautiful. Like, I fell in love with like all the vineyards. I fell in love with all of the trees, especially when all of the almond trees would change in their season, and you would see these beautiful just white blossoms. And when the blossoms of these trees would fall, it just reminded me of like fresh fallen snow. Not that it's like that much, but it's like enough for me to just be like, oh, this is so pretty. Like, this, for any artist, you just see the beauty in these things. And it's almost like the Lord took me from this fast pace to like slowing me down. Because San Diego at Chula Vista, it's like you have everything you need in reach. Like, when you want a Starbucks, go down the street. When you want to go to Walmart, go down the street. When you want anything, go down the street. And you will have it. But then, like, you go to Rio Vista and you're going to have to drive to like anywhere to get somewhere. And that did it for me. It quieted my spirit. Like, I had to slow my pace. I had to drastically like change the pace of my life. I had to change the way that I walked with God. Not that I had to change it, but like the Lord was changing the way that I was walking with Him. It went from like, yes, God, thank you, God, everything is good. Okay, God, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. To like, so God, just sitting here. What do you want to talk about? What's on your heart? What's on your mind? What are you doing? Why am I here? What are you up to? Why did you take me from San Diego to the middle of nowhere? Like, what is in this season? It tied my husband and I together, 10 times closer. Like, if I thought I had an amazing friendship with my husband before we got married and while we were married, like, we became like BFF. Like, we are just tied at the hip. We prayed together. We'd always been praying together and we'd always been Lord, but it was almost like, man, we learned how to like fully come to this place of like depending on God, but like on a whole new level, like just like a different depth. We learned to trust God like never before, to where it was like, I had to go, God, it is so hard to trust you when I cannot see like the next step in front of me. Like, I cannot even comprehend it. I don't even know what's coming tomorrow. Like, and there were so many times where I wasn't seeing the place that I had been praying for. Like, I was not seeing like, okay, I don't see where I think our home is here. But yet I can tell love the beauty in the fields, and like how in every season, the fields were changing, and like I loved every moment. I started to savor every season that I had there. I loved the fields. I loved the vineyards. I loved all of the different livestock that I had a chance to see. I loved how people were doing life there. I loved how like now I could enjoy this drive if I needed to go to Walmart, or I could enjoy this drive to like go get Dutch Bros if I had this okay, like I would love to have a Dutch Bros today, or just all of those little things that, you know, created this new lifestyle for me of like really just getting out with my family and like taking this drive together, and like spending that time as a family to take that drive to Walmart or to go to Dutch Bros, like all of that time of like that togetherness and like appreciating that time spent as a family. And so even though we were looking for like, okay, God, like where is our future home? Like, is it here? And if it's here, where are you calling us? Like, where do you want us to be? We stopped praying prayers of like, oh God, we just want to go here, we want to do this. It really like transformed our way of prayer to like, God, we want to be where you actually want us to be, so that we can be in alignment with where you want us to go, where you are calling us to be, not where we are calling ourselves. Because I was like, can I get back to San Diego? Let me check every door, try every key, because if I can get back there, I will. And God was like closing every door. And then I was like, I'm done with San Diego. I don't want to go back, because the Lord just removed that desire from my heart altogether. And then I was like, well, okay, let me see if we can stay in San Diego. We like tried the key in every door, and doors were not opening, and we're just not finding it. And I was like, I'm not seeing it. And then we're praying, and the Lord just like drastically, like God was just, he was like in every detail. And so my mom gets sick, and it's like, all right, we're gonna go back home. We're gonna do this thing. We're gonna go back, and I'm gonna see how my mom's doing, and maybe I need to go home and take care of her. And that was not God's plan. And during that time, I just had this deep desire for like, I really want to have another baby. But I'm talking to God, I'm like, this is not the time. We're still living with my in-laws, and we're in one room. This is literally, and it was like the most, like, I think it was such a fierce battle for me, because I was like, I just cannot even think about this. But my mom's like on her dying bed, and I'm like, if I could tell my mom one thing, it would be like, Mom, I'm pregnant and I'm having another baby, because I wanted her to leave with this like happy news, like, yay, like, you know, this is happy stuff, and I just want you to know you're going to be a grandma again before you pass away. But it was like, no, we cannot be thinking like that. This is, right now, it's just not a good time. It's not a good season. We're living with my in-laws, and we're in one room. It's just, no. And I just tried so hard to like put it from my mind. And then my mom passes away, and we're just like trying to get through all that mess. And it's like, okay. And that desire is like still there. So I just throw up my hands, and I'm like, Lord, you know what? I'm just done trying to plan my life and like try to get all my steps in order, and I'm just tired of trying to get all my ducks in a row. And you know what, if there's like one thing, like before we move, if I could give my mother-in-law and at least even in my own self, I would love to have another baby. But if I knew she had a chance to be a grandma again, that would be something that was still like in the back of my heart, because my mother-in-law had never had a chance to really have that full season with her grandkids. Like, she would be able to see them once they were born, like for a week, and then she'd have to go back to Rio Vista. And it was like, this would just be such a beautiful thing. Like, what a beautiful gift, like in the scheme of things and all of the, just the timeline of life. Would it be so bad that I have this desire to have another baby? And if she had a chance to be a grandma again and actually have this time like spent where she actually had a chance to enjoy this season, being a grandma, and also having a newborn in her house, which by the way is like another huge sacrifice, because who wants like a crying newborn in their home? And it's like, okay, God, I'm gonna just trust you with my life and just whatever you're doing. And you know what? I'm just so tired of fighting this, and so I'm just gonna let it be. And so we get pregnant, and it's this big, beautiful thing. And I will say to this day, like, and then once I was pregnant, I was like, oh my gosh, I just like can't believe that I'm pregnant. Like, I'm like, I was just like, Lord, this is probably not a good idea. It's like, what are we doing being pregnant right now? I'm like, can I take that back? Can you please take this? Can you take it back? But I will tell you, this story ends it ends beautifully, okay? Because I will tell you that each one of my children has been just this beautiful blessing in my life. And like, Joshua ended up being such a beautiful blessing. Like, Joshua brought me through so much and through everything. Just when we got word from the Lord, like, we're moving to Kentucky, it's like Joshua brought me so much joy through all of that. Like, just the gearing up to move, and then like the packing and the getting things all into the moving truck, and like having to move, like literally moving from all the way across California all the way to Kentucky. It was just like this whole thing. And like, Joshua brought me so much joy